Hello coders, as a part of object-oriented programming, Python that is, it follows the basic principles of object-oriented programming, that is polymorphism, inheritance, abstraction and encapsulation. So in this particular video, we'll be discussing on inheritance. Now, the question arises, what is inheritance? In simple terms, when the feature of one class is being passed on to the next class, that is, uh, the child class will be able to use the functions or methods of the parent class, and it won't be having knowledge on its implications. So that's inheritance. So what's the need of this inheritance? So suppose I think of an scenario that cars are in general having wheels. So, and this car will be, there will be a subclass, the child class, that is model, and this model will be inheriting the car class. So each and every time, so if I want to make some changes to the characteristics of the wheels, that is, maybe it will be a C8 or black or maybe something like else, the whole code needs to be changed and rewritten. So the basic motto of inheritance is to break this larger piece of code into smaller chunks of code, and we can achieve this by means of classes. And single level inheritance means there will be a two classes. One class will be having some feature and the child class will be inheriting that feature. We'll be discussing this topic and we'll be also discussing on self and how it works. So with a practical example, so Control Shift N to make a new folder, and I'll be naming it as inherit, and then I'll be opening this particular folder inside of my Visual Studio Code to achieve this particular goal of the project. So here I'll be writing cmd to open my command prompt, and from there I'll be writing simply code dot to open this folder inside my Visual Studio Code. Now I'll be having two classes. So one will be the main class, one will be the main Python file. So it's still holding some file. Let me erase it. There is main.py and there is nothing in it. Okay. So inherit, no, it is having nothing. Let me close this file. Don't save. So let me make a fresh file, card.py. That is the main, that will be the logic of my code, and then it will be called by main.py. So let me define card.py first. I will be writing class to define it is a class card, and wheels. So we use constructor to initialize variables. So here I will be using def is the keyword to declare a variable, and the name of this variable will be init, which is the constructor, and we will be passing in self. I'll be making some errors and then I'll be describing that how I overcome that particular error. So self, and then I'll be simply describing that wheels is having 4. So this is a simple car, not something like a jumbo truck or something like that having 12 or 14 wheels. And now we'll be having class model. So class model, and this model will be inheriting the feature of car, that is, it will be able to use all of the methods of this car class. So maybe I will be also having another function. We'll be naming it as def, and then maybe greet. And as we all know that in case of functions inside a class, the first parameter that should be passed is a cell, and it will simply say that print we think you would love our, fine, simple enough. Now this model will be having something def, and it will be having some color. So set color. Remember guys, always give some name which has a logical meaning, like A1, B1, C1, A, B, C, D. So A is something like, what is A? Then if something is A, then what is B for? Or maybe if something is A1, then what is A2 for? So set color. By the name of it, we can easily imagine that this function is dealing with giving color to the car. So set color, again we'll be having a self as the first variable, and then we'll be having color as the second variable, and we'll be simply saying that self dot color equal to color. That's it. That's the code for this particular file. Let me press Ctrl S from my keyboard and we'll be moving to main.py. Now this card.py is not visible to this particular file main.py. We have to make this visible. So what we'll be doing is that from car, so car was in capital, from car import star means from car, that particular file, whatever is present inside that car, import everything. So let me press enter and I'll be writing model equal to, the name of the file was car, bracket open, bracket close, fine. Now whenever I'm writing model dot, it has a function say grid, and also it has a function for set color as well. So let me write set. No, there is no set color. Okay, fine. So model car, no, it won't be car, my mistake. The child class name was model, so car was having only one function, that's why it was showing that particular function, that is greeting, something like that, and the child class name was model. Now let's see what are the methods available. So there will be something like set color, fine. There will be also greet, fine. But the magical thing is there is no wheels. Why is it so? So this is the object, and this object will be passed here self. This is the model. So what I am trying to do is that I am saying that model dot wheels. So how will these two be interlinked so that this wheel can be called? So all I need to do is that I need to write self dot wheels. Let me save the file. And now if I move here, if I write print model dot, and if I say wheels, see now it is having wheels. So that's how self. So whenever we are creating an object of a class, that object is being passed as a reference to that class function or method. So again I am interchangeably using the term method, and again I am saying function. So you might get confused at what are functions and what are method. Anything, so basically functions or methods are something like a piece of code which achieves some task. We, by means of this particular thing, we do some things like subtraction, addition, or something, some kind of work. So whenever this particular function is lying inside of a class, we call it as a method, and if it lies just as it is, then we can call it as a function. So model.fields, it would print 4. So let me close the brakes to press Ctrl S from my keyboard. So it is showing some warning. Let it show some warning. I'll be moving into my terminal. So view terminal. Let me run the file and let me see whether my car is having 4 wheels or something. Okay. So let me quickly grab my charger since my battery is running low. Yeah. So here I'll be writing, to compile the file, I'll be writing Python, and then the name of the file is main.py. So aim, then I'll be pressing tab to complete the line. So yeah, 4. So my car is having 4 wheels. Now I can set color. So I can say that model dot set color, and I can say that the color will be maybe, so it is a string, we can give it within double quote or we can give it within single quote. It's as per your choice. So I'm coming from Java background, so I'll be using double quotation for passing in the string. So I'll be having a red car. So that's the set color of red, fine. So there is no way in which I can print the color of the car. So it's only color. So whenever I'm passing in the color, it is being stored in here. So the color means the model color. Okay, fine. So set color. So now if I print model dot color, now let's see what happens. Let me press Ctrl S from my keyboard and run the file. Yeah, it's having red. So see, the logic has been broken down into smaller pieces of chunk. This particular this child class model, it is only concerned with the properties of the car, like having the color or maybe the door or hatchback or something like that, whether it will be having some fins, something like that. And this parent class car, it is a building block and it will be defining how the car behaves. So we are breaking down the code into smaller pieces of code, and this is an example of single level inheritance since car and then model. Then what about multi-level? So multi-level is simple. We'll be having another one, maybe class, and this time instead of model we'll be having, say suppose I give it a color. Okay, so this time we'll be having maybe steer, and it will be taking in model as a parent class, and it will be defining def, and then set steer, and again the first parameter will be self, and the second parameter will be steer, and self dot steer equal to steer. So the steering can be a power steering or a normal steering, something like that. Let me press Ctrl S. Now since steer is inheriting the two classes, that is car as well as the model, so if I make a, so let me remove all this line from here to here, and I'll be writing that the name of this particular class is steer. Fine. So model equals to steer. Now if I press model and then dot, so it will be having steer. See, it is having steer, and it will be having grid. So this model will be inheriting all of the features of the classes from which it is inheriting. This particular feature is a part of multi-level inheritance. And what is the multiple inheritance? Multiple inheritance is something like that. These two classes, car and this particular class model, they will have no relationship with each other. So let me remove this car, and here in the steer it will be having model as well as this car. So if I press Ctrl S from my keyboard and here, so again this model, which is object of the steer class, it will be having all of the function of this grid, this steer, then set color. But if I make another class, maybe another object, m equals to maybe model, fine. So since this is an object, we'll be having a bracket open, bracket close. Now if I said m dot grid, see there are no, it is, since it is not inheriting the parent class which is the car, so that grid method is not available or is not visible to this particular class. So here also we can discuss about the topic of abstraction, that we are hiding the feature, that is this car is having some wheels, its implementation, its feature, all of those features will be hidden, and it won't be shown to the child class. It will be only able to use that particular feature, but it won't have the control over how it is being used or over its manipulation. So that's a short video on how you can achieve inheritance, and if you like it, do throw a like, and I think I have been able to clear out this particular self, why we are passing self. So this self is similar to something like that in Java. So self.color, we made remember guys, we made a object of the class model equal to something like that. So model.color, so if I simply say that dot color equal to color, how can we refer these two, that is this color and this color, to link these two particular thing, we are writing self.color, which basically means that model.color equal to color. So that's all for this particular video of our inheritance in Python. There are other inheritance as well. I have discussed only three types of inheritance, that is single level, then multi-level, and then multiple. And I'll be this video will get more elongated if I discuss over other types of inheritance along with this video. So I'll be making another video in which I'll be discussing on other types of inheritance in Python. So that's all for this video. Thank you guys, and happy coding.